She walked in with sneakers and confidence. They laughed, mocked, told her to leave. But what they didn't know? She owned more than they could ever dream of. Now she's back, with a $1.2 million Rolls-Royce, a viral story, and a message they'll never forget. This isn't just about money. It's about identity, respect, and the price of underestimating the wrong woman. Watch what happens when elegance meets ignorance, and guess who gets the last word. The sun had just begun to stretch across the skyline of Atlanta when Amira Johnson stepped into the shimmering glass entrance of Noble Elite Motors, a dealership that boasted Bentleys, Ferraris, and one-of-a-kind custom Rolls-Royces. It was a space meant to dazzle, to make people feel small unless they carried six-figure bank accounts or a last name printed on buildings. Amira didn't carry a name like that. What she did carry was the kind of quiet confidence that couldn't be bought, only earned. Her natural curls framed her face in soft spirals, pulled back just enough to highlight her rich brown skin, high cheekbones, and almond eyes. She wore ripped jeans, fresh white Nikes, and a black crop tee under an oversized denim jacket. No designer labels, no entourage, no attitude, just purpose. She was here for one reason. Her mother, a retired school teacher who had sacrificed everything to raise 3 kids on her own. Last year, she'd been diagnosed with lupus. This year, she was in remission. And Amira, now the CEO of her own luxury home staging firm, was ready to buy her mother the car of her dreams, a ruby red Bentley Continental GT. She walked in alone, head high. The showroom sparkled with polished chrome and spotless marble. Salesmen stood by like vultures in tailored suits, each waiting to pounce, until they saw her. And then they didn't. She walked past the reception desk without even a hello. The receptionist didn't look up from her phone. "Hi," Amira said gently. "I'm here to inquire about the Continental GT. I saw it online." One of the salesmen, tall, smug, with a sharp jaw and a sharper attitude, finally approached. His name tag read, Eric Talbot, Senior Sales Consultant. His smile was thin and forced. "Miss, this isn't the used car lot," he said with a chuckle, gesturing vaguely toward the exit. "These cars start at over $250,000. "I know," Amira said, steady. "That's the one I'm here to see." Eric blinked, then glanced at her jeans, her shoes, her lack of Louis Vuitton. "Right. Well, that model is by private appointment only. We usually show it to serious buyers with proof of funds." Amira's lips curved slightly. "You assume I don't have that?" "I assume most people don't walk in off the street asking to test drive a $250,000 car in Air Jordans," he replied, crossing his arms. At that, 2 other salesmen nearby laughed. Softly, but not soft enough. Amira felt her spine straighten. The humiliation wasn't new, but today it hit different. "Thank you," she said quietly, already turning to leave. "Maybe next time try the Lexus place across the street," Eric called after her. "They're more casual." Amira didn't respond. She walked through the glass doors with grace, though her stomach burned with rage. Her fingers itched to pull out her phone, to say something, anything. But she had learned long ago, silence was sometimes the sharpest blade. By the time her Tesla pulled away from the lot, she already knew what she was going to do. The next morning, Noble Elite Motors was its usual polished self. Espresso machines humming, salesmen rehearsing pitches in front of the mirror, and Eric Talbot swaggering around like he owned the building. He was mid-sentence in a conversation about weeding out the window shoppers when he heard the purr of an engine that didn't belong to any car currently in the showroom. Outside, a custom black Maybach S680 pulled up to the front entrance. The kind of car celebrities and oil tycoons got driven around in. Its deep obsidian paint shimmered like liquid glass under the Georgia sun. Eric immediately straightened his tie. A uniformed chauffeur in white gloves stepped out, walked to the back door, and opened it with theatrical precision. Out stepped Amira Johnson. Only this time, she wasn't wearing sneakers and denim. Today, she wore a sleek black pantsuit that hugged her figure in all the right places, paired with deep burgundy heels and subtle gold jewelry. Her curls were pulled into a high bun, her presence magnetic. The air changed the moment she stepped inside. Conversations died. Eric blinked like he had seen a ghost. Before he could even form words, Richard Harris, the general manager and partial owner of the dealership, emerged from his office, eyes widening at the sight of the luxury car still idling out front. "Good morning," Amira said, her voice as smooth as velvet but sharpened by intent. "I believe you have a Bentley Continental GT in ruby red. I'm here to buy it, today, in cash." She didn't need to raise her voice. Her words cut through the silence like a blade. Eric stepped forward, trying to recover. Miss Johnson, was it? I think there's been a miscommunication. I wasn't aware you were someone worth listening to," she finished, raising an eyebrow. Eric stammered. "No, I didn't mean that. If you're serious about the car, I'd be happy to show it to you personally." "No, thank you," Amira said, her gaze sliding past him to a younger black woman in a navy pantsuit who had been tidying brochures near the back desk. "You?" The woman blinked, startled. "What's your name?" Amira asked. Chanel. I'm an assistant floor rep. I haven't made any sales yet. I'm still in training." "You're in charge now," Amira said. "I want to see the vehicle, ask questions, and make the purchase through you. Commission and all." Eric's jaw dropped. "Miss Johnson," Richard began nervously, "I assure you, we take great pride in our service here. This is not typical of how we treat our clientele." "Is that so?" Amira turned toward him slowly. "Because yesterday, I walked in here with the same exact intention, and I was told to try the used car lot across the street." Richard swallowed. Around them, the rest of the staff stood awkwardly still, the tension in the air sharp and unavoidable. "I don't need an apology," Amira continued, her voice cool. "What I want is to buy a gift for my mother. She's been through hell and back, and she deserves something beautiful. What I also want is for Chanel," she looked at the young trainee, "to get the opportunity you all would have denied me based on how I looked." Chanel nodded quickly, still wide-eyed, but now filled with purpose. "Yes, ma'am, I'd be honored." "Great," Amira smiled. "Let's take a look at the car." As they walked toward the Bentley display, Amira didn't look back. Not at Eric, not at the stunned manager, not at the others whose smirks from the day before had evaporated into silence. She didn't need to. Her presence alone said everything that needed to be said, and she wasn't done yet. By the end of the day, the dealership wasn't just buzzing, it was on fire. Someone, no one knew who, had caught the entire exchange on video. The clip opened with Amira walking in, dressed simply, asking about the Bentley. It cut to Eric's smirk, his dismissive wave toward the door, and ended on his now infamous line, "People who shop here don't wear sneakers." Within hours, the video hit Twitter, then Instagram, then TikTok. By midnight, sneakers and Bentleys was trending nationally. Comments poured in. "Can't believe she was judged for wearing sneakers. Meanwhile, she probably owns the dealership now." "Black women stay getting underestimated until they flip the whole table." Shout out to Chanel, rooting for her. The next morning, Noble Elite Motors Google reviews plummeted. 1-star ratings flooded in, each one laced with screenshots of the video. Influencers reposted it. A local news anchor shared it on her morning segment. By noon, Richard Harris called an emergency staff meeting. "Effective immediately," he said, voice tight, "Eric Talbot is suspended pending internal review, and going forward we are instituting mandatory diversity and unconscious bias training for all personnel." Eric, seated 2 chairs down, scoffed. "This is overblown. It's social media. It'll blow over in a week." "It won't," Chanel said quietly, surprising everyone. She'd spoken only a few times in the office before now, but her voice carried like a bell in a silent room. "I looked up Miss Johnson last night. She's the founder of 3 tech startups. Her companies build AI learning systems for children with learning disabilities. She has contracts with 6 school districts in Georgia. She's been on the cover of Forbes' Black Women in Tech. You didn't even give her 5 seconds before writing her off. Eric didn't reply. And it's not just about her, she continued, standing a little straighter. It's about how many people come in here and get treated like they don't belong, just because they're not wearing Gucci loafers. Richard folded his arms. She chose to buy through you, Chanel. You made that sale, not Eric, not anyone else. I'd like you to be her point of contact going forward. Handle delivery, detailing, customer service, everything. Chanel blinked. Are you serious? Dead serious, Richard said. We need a reset. You're part of it. Eric stood abruptly. You're replacing me with a trainee? No, Richard said without missing a beat. You replaced yourself the moment you assumed a woman in sneakers couldn't afford a Bentley. A ripple of breath moved through the room. Eric stormed out. Richard turned to the staff. We're changing the way we qualify people. From now on, you listen before you judge. You treat every single person who walks through that door like they belong, because they do. Chanel sat back down, her hands still trembling a little. The weight of everything, the moment, the trust, the chance, hit her all at once. But it didn't scare her. It lit something up inside her. That afternoon, Amira returned to sign paperwork. She wore jeans again, and sneakers. As Chanel handed her the keys to the ruby-red Bentley, Amira leaned in with a knowing smile. You handled yourself with class. That matters. Chanel swallowed hard. Thank you for believing in me. Amira shook her head. You believed in me first. The two women exchanged a nod, a quiet, unspoken bond between those who had both seen and survived the judgment of others. Amira slid into the driver's seat and started the engine. The car purred like it recognized its rightful owner. Outside, a small crowd had gathered again, this time cheering and snapping photos. Not because Amira had bought a car, but because she had changed the game. Eric Talbot didn't sleep much the week after the video went viral. He tried to ignore it at first, deleted his social media apps, muted group chats, turned off the news. But the silence was worse. Every time he closed his eyes, all he could see was the flash of Amira's face when he dismissed her, the way she stood there with grace while he made himself a fool. By Friday, his suspension became permanent. Officially, the company said it was part of a restructuring. Unofficially, everyone knew. Noble Elite Motors had to make a choice. And they didn't choose him. His friends stopped texting. His landlord raised an eyebrow when they crossed paths. His barber, who had always greeted him with dap and banter, just nodded silently the next time he came in. The world hadn't just watched him fail. It had judged him for who he really was underneath the suit. Eric wasn't used to being the one shut out. So when he opened his email one morning and saw a message from the Collins Foundation, he almost deleted it. Then he saw the sender's name, Amira Johnson. If you're open to a conversation, I believe everyone deserves a chance to grow. Not to erase what happened, but to learn from it. I'll be speaking at the Foundation's event this Saturday. You're welcome to attend. No cameras, just community. He stared at the screen for a long time. By Saturday evening, Eric stood at the back of a community center in southwest Atlanta, wearing a polo shirt and jeans, the most dressed down he'd been in public in years. The space was buzzing with life. Kids raced through hallways lined with murals. Teen volunteers moved between booths, helping younger children try adaptive sports. Tables showcased tech built for kids with learning challenges. Speech pads, gamified AI tutors, eye-tracking software for nonverbal communication. He'd never seen anything like it. In the middle of the room, on a modest stage, stood Amira. Her curls pulled back, no makeup, just a black tee and gold earrings. She wasn't selling anything. She wasn't grandstanding. She was telling stories about growing up with a dyslexic sister who taught herself to code. About being told at 19 that black girls didn't belong in tech. About how she made her first million from a basement with 2 cracked laptops and a whiteboard. "And that's why we don't judge a child by how they learn," Amira said, smiling softly. "Because every overlooked kid might just be a genius waiting for the right door to open." Applause rippled through the room. Eric felt something shift in his chest. Something uncomfortable, but necessary. Afterward, he approached quietly. "I didn't expect you to email me," he said. Amira studied him. "Most people wouldn't have shown up." "I didn't come for a second chance," Eric admitted. I needed to see for myself what you do, who you are." "I'm just a woman who walks into places people think I don't belong," she said. "The difference is, I stopped waiting for permission." Eric nodded, his voice quieter now. "I was wrong, not just about you, about a lot of things." Amira tilted her head. "So what are you going to do with that?" "I don't know yet," he said, "but I want to start." She smiled. "Then start here. Volunteer for a day, help some kids, get your hands dirty. You'll figure the rest out." He looked around. The kids, the tech, the parents thanking the staff, the laughter, the warmth. "Yeah," he said. "Okay." That day, Eric Talbot sorted cables, handed out snacks, and helped a 6-year-old boy with cerebral palsy shoot his first basket through an adaptive hoop. When the ball dropped through the net, the boy screamed with joy. It wasn't redemption, not yet, but it was the first real thing Eric had done in a long, long time. 2 months later, a black stretch SUV with matte gold trim pulled up in front of Noble Elite Motors on a cloudless Saturday morning. Out stepped Amira Johnson, tall, calm, composed, wearing a crisp white blazer over a mocha jumpsuit. Her curls were pinned up, revealing a pair of thin gold hoops that caught the sun just right. This time, no one laughed. In fact, people stared, with awe, with fear, with recognition, because by now, everyone knew who she was. The viral clip of her being humiliated in that same showroom had racked up over 32 million views. It had been dissected on The Breakfast Club, featured on NPR, and posted by Michelle Obama with the caption, "Respect should never be about appearances." This woman reminds us of the grace it takes to lead with dignity, even when disrespected. Amira hadn't said much publicly. She'd made one calm video thanking people for their support and encouraging them to donate to youth entrepreneurship programs. That alone had raised over $1.2 million in 2 weeks. But today, it wasn't about the internet. It was about closure. Inside the dealership, the vibe shifted the moment the receptionist saw her. She froze. A whisper traveled across the floor. "Yo, that's her." Amira didn't flinch. She walked straight to the front desk. "I have a 10:30 appointment," she said. "Under Johnson. I'm here to pick up a vehicle." The receptionist's fingers trembled slightly as she clicked through the system. "Yes, ma'am, right this way. We've been expecting you." Daniel, the only employee who had treated her with decency that day, greeted her with a warm, relieved smile. He wore a new name tag now, Assistant Sales Manager. "Miss Johnson," he said, "the Azure Coupe you custom ordered just arrived this morning. Midnight chrome exterior, matte black interior. And yes, we made sure to include the gift bow you requested." Amira nodded. "And the donation match from the dealership?" Daniel handed her a confirmation slip. $500,000 to the Black Girls Lead Initiative, wired this morning. "Good," she said. "Let's do the paperwork." As they walked, she passed the exact spot where Eric Talbot had once laughed in her face. Only now, Eric wasn't here. After the viral fallout, Eric had been fired, not just for the incident, but for a pattern of behavior the company could no longer ignore once public pressure hit. He'd issued a weak apology on LinkedIn. It didn't help. He was effectively unhireable in the luxury auto world. His social media pages had gone dark. His name was now a cautionary tale in DEI training sessions nationwide. Amira hadn't needed to say a word. The truth had spoken loud enough. But the real twist came a few weeks later, in the form of an email from Eric himself. The message was simple. I've lost more than my job. I lost the version of myself I thought was decent. Thank you for showing me what leadership actually looks like. I'm trying to do better. Volunteering now, not for clout, just to serve. If you ever speak publicly again and you need someone to own their mistakes on stage, I'm willing. Eric Talbot. She hadn't replied. Yet, back at the dealership, the final signatures were inked. A photographer hired by the dealership for PR asked if she wanted a photo with the car. Amira looked at the keys in her hand. Then she shook her head. No photo. No press. This isn't about proving a point, she said. It's about finishing what I started. They wheeled the Azure out front. Parked beside it was another car, a modest hybrid sedan, older model. Daniel tilted his head. You want us to drive the coupe to your estate? Amira smiled. No, she said. The coupe is for my sister. I'll take the hybrid. Daniel looked confused. You're not going to drive the luxury one? Amira looked back at the Azure, gleaming under the sun. No, I don't need people to know I can. I just need to know I could. She handed the keys to a personal driver. Please take this to Jasmine's address. Add the gift note we discussed. Inside the car was a simple card. For every time they told you what you didn't deserve. Happy birthday, sis. Love, Amira. As she slid into the driver's seat of her modest car, Amira felt no triumph, no pettiness, just peace. Sometimes, power wasn't in proving people wrong. It was in refusing to let them decide who you are. Epilogue. 6 months later. Eric Talbot now ran a small consulting firm that trained luxury dealerships on inclusive customer engagement. He spoke once a month at community colleges and high schools, offering career guidance and free resume coaching. He still volunteered at the Collins Foundation. Not because he had to, because he wanted to. One rainy afternoon, as he packed up after an adaptive sports day, he spotted Amira across the gym helping a girl with leg braces navigate a balance beam. She waved at him. He nodded, smiling back. No words needed. Growth was its own redemption. What is the lesson of this story? 1. Never judge a book by its outfit. Appearances reveal nothing about a person's worth, character, or success. What you see isn't always what you get. 2. Grace is stronger than rage. Amira could have shamed the dealership publicly. Instead, she chose quiet accountability, teaching us that class isn't about cash, it's about character. 3. How you treat nobodies reveals everything. True integrity shows not in how you treat powerful people, but how you treat those you think have none. 4. Redemption is real, but only if you earn it. People can grow. But growth starts with owning your mistakes, not denying them. 5. Power doesn't always shout. Sometimes the most powerful move is walking away and coming back on your own terms. What do you think about this story? Let's comment below to discuss. And don't forget to subscribe our channel to listen to more interesting stories.